Well, shit, I put this one off for a while. Yeah, I probably procrastinated doing this for a few days too many, so I'm gonna try to get this up as quickly as possible. But don't worry, I'm gonna make it up to you for being late with this Q&A by coming up with a really awesome opening for this video. And I think you're gonna like it because it's seasonal, it's relevant. You know, I figured, hey, Christmas is coming up soon, right? So here's a Christmas cookie shaped like a dick. Because I'm an adult. Anyways, with that amazing opening to this video, let us continue, or not continue, but let us start with the questions. I was able to narrow it down to like 30 questions this time, so this shouldn't be nearly as bad as the, or this should take me quite as long as the last weekly Q&A. So let's start. Question number 1. Hey Xana, first off, I'd like to say I really enjoyed your last questions video. And then it's like a smiley face, but it's like a sideways smiley face. The only thing I can suggest is work on not rocking back and forth while answering. Anyway, if you know, I knew somebody was gonna call me out for that shit. I had a feeling like somebody was gonna, because I didn't even notice I was doing that, and then I saw myself when I was like editing the video, and then it was like, and then I was like, oh my god, somebody's gonna be like really annoyed by that. Yeah, I think it's because I have a lot of trouble, like, sitting still. Like, whenever I, like, write a script or something, I'm never just, like, sitting down writing it the whole time. I'm always, like, I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea, and then I'll write something, and then I'll, like, get up and, like, pace around the room for, like, well, this could be a good idea. I got it! You know, and then I'll do that shit. So it's I don't tend to stay still very much. But I'll try to keep that in mind. I'll try, I could understand how that would be annoying if I'm just like, so anyways, but I'll try to keep the rocking back and forth to a minimum if I can. If I do it, I'm doing it unconsciously, so I'm sorry. Anyway, sorry to answer the person's question. Anyway, if you could work with a YouTuber or a YouTube star, who would it be? I mean, I guess like, I mean, I definitely, and I know I like mentioned Ego Raptor like multiple times, but you know, because he was like one of my main inspirations in terms of like, you know, in terms of like, he was one of the main reasons I got into voice acting. But I mean, yeah, he seems like a really, at least from what I've seen from like, you know, conventions, and at least from what I've seen of the dude from like conventions and from Game Grumps, he seems like a really, you know, really cool dude. Like somebody I'd like to have a conversation with, you know, seemed like he'd be fun to work with. And you know, if I were to pick any other YouTuber, I don't know, like somebody, I don't know, somebody like, I mean, I guess Little Karibo seems like a cool guy too, or, you know, Team 4-Star. I mean, that being said, I don't foresee anything like that ever happening, because, you know, in order to get the attention of people like Egoraptor or Team 4-Star or Little Karibo, you actually have to produce content, that, you know, that somebody like that would look at and say, hey, that's pretty good, you know, and I don't really feel I've done that yet, but, you know, hopefully, I hope, I can dream. But no, if in the hypothetical scenario that I did have the opportunity to meet those people, I think, yeah, no, definitely Ego Raptor, because he just seems like a really cool guy. And stuff like that. So, question 2. Do you do any throat exercises before voice acting? If so, how? Not really. I mean, I know some people do. I know some people do, like, really specific things to warm up their voice. For me, I just kind of, like, start doing it. I guess my best advice to you would be, like, if you're voice acting, stay hydrated. The worst thing you can do to your fucking throat is to like try to voice act while you're you know, while you're dehydrated. It sucks. So always have a glass of water around. You know, you can, you know, take a drink. It's good for your throat, you know. So yeah, my advice is just stay hydrated. I've heard gargling like lemon water is a good thing too, but I don't know. But I can't confirm or deny that. I'll just drink water. Question 3. Have you thought about doing sketch comedy with friends? No. I feel like there's multiple reasons that wouldn't work. First reason is this right here. This webcam that I'm talking into is basically the only camera that I have. And and cameras, from what I understand, cost a shit ton of money. So I don't really know if I have the money to invest in a camera. Secondly, I have no experience with actually filming stuff on camera, no understanding of cinematography, because I've spent the past 4+ years doing Zelda parodies where I talk over video game footage. So that's, you know, there's not a lot of practice in the whole cinematography department. And thirdly, all of the friends I have that do like creative stuff, like Anthony from Fat Dog or Tauberpa or the Big T, or just, you know, anybody I know that does stuff like that, or does funny voices, or does funny stuff, they all live in different states. And the friends that I do live near are not exactly performers and comedians. So, you know, it's not so yeah, there's multiple reasons as to why I don't think I'd be able to pull something like that off. You know, who knows what the future will hold, but no, right now, that does not seem like a thing. It's not a thing I'm planning on doing anytime soon, but who knows. Question number 4. How did you get the Navi muffin idea? Why do you think the Derpy muffin thing came out after your first video? Parentheses, yes, this is the same guy who asked if you got the idea from Derp. I'm guessing Derp is a short for Derpy Hooves. What's up, Derp? How's it going, Derp? I mean, well, clearly, you know, the creators of a professional cartoon show have nothing better to do than to watch, you know, videos by a rather unpopular YouTuber and steal their jokes. I mean, clearly they took that from me, you know. But seriously, no, as far as I can tell, I mean, it was a coincidence, really. It's not like I'm the first dude to make reference to muffins, so, I don't know. Shit's weird that way, you know? So I think it's funny that I just so happened to watch the show, and that became a big meme thing. That was one of the major meme thing that came out of it with the Derpy character. But, you know, coincidence. And how did I get the Navi muffins idea? I mean, I didn't plan to make it like a running joke or anything. I mean, it was really just like Navi bumps her head on the way over to Link's house, and she completely forgets why she was there in the first place. And I was just thinking of some silly, like some way that she was like the conversation. She was trying to remember the conversation she had with the Deku Tree, and she was like remembering it like completely different from what actually happened. And I was just thinking like, what could he say? I'm going to give you a big tasty muffin, Muffin Land. You know, that it just something silly like that. And then like people seemed to find it funny, so I did I don't know, I made another muffin joke about Navi in the second episode, and I guess I just decided to, I don't know, I guess I just decided to make it a running gag, so, yeah. And question number 5, if both aliens and ghosts are real, how would you deal with a ghost alien invasion? Well, first I would kill myself so I could become a ghost, because if ghosts are real, you know, I'd have the power to turn invisible and shit, and go through, like, solid matter, and that'd be fucking awesome. And then I would join the ghost aliens, and betray my own people, because let's face it, if these aliens have the ability to travel from distant planets to our world, I mean, we're basically gonna lose that battle, you know, you know, we can put up a fight, but it's kind of technologically superior, so, I mean, I might as well side with the winners. So, yeah, I would be a dirty traitor. Comment number 6. Could you please tell us how you met Tauberpa? I'm pretty sure I already answered this in an FAQ video on my Xanauzumaki channel. So if you want like a longer version of that story, you can go over to go to my Xanauzumaki channel and watch that video. But I guess the short version is he's basically he was a fan of my videos. He asked me to do some voices for a thing he was doing. I'm like, sure, I'll do voices for you. And then we started talking on Skype, and we've been friends ever since. So yeah, that's the abridged version. Haha. Comment number 7. Do you ever have someone recognize you from all this? Like some random stranger comes up to you and says, I know you from the YouTube videos. No, that has never happened to me before. I don't really foresee that happening unless I went to like a convention or something where you know, like Zelda fans, like a Zelda convention specifically, where people might know, you know, who I am. But even then, it's unlikely, because I mean, you know, yeah, I have 10,000 followers, which, I mean, if you put all 10,000 of those followers in, like, a single room, I mean, yeah, that might seem like a lot, but, you know, if you spread them out all across the, you know, the 6 billion plus people that live on Earth, you know, you'd spread that, that's a lot of people, so I don't I'm not so popular that I think that would happen. If it did happen, that would be crazy. That would be a crazy as fuck, awesome coincidence. But yeah, but no, that has not happened to me. It'd be cool and flattering as hell, but nope, never happened. 8. What games do you play, and do you prefer to play on PC or console? What? I don't know how to answer the first question, because, like, the first question seems like, I always hate, like, when somebody asks me, like, what games do you play? It's like, hold on a second, let me go through my, portfolio of every game I've ever played. Ah, yes, here we go. Starting from A. You know, like, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, if you're talking about, like, what genre I play, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll play almost anything with the, I mean, I guess I could tell you what genres of games I don't play. I think that would be easier. I don't play sports games, I don't play RTS games, and I do not play fighting games. And I don't play racing games, with the exception of Mario Kart. Oh, also fighting games, with the exception of Smash Brothers. So aside from, like, the Nintendo versions of those genres, I usually, you know, I'm not buying Forza Motorsport, or, you know, and I'm not buying the next Madden game, and I'm not, you know, I'm not playing StarCraft 2 or the first StarCraft, or, you know, so there's certain genres I just don't really have an interest in, so I just kind of stay away from them. As for do I prefer PC or console, I mean, I growing up, I was a console dude. I was a console kid. I had myself a 64, a GameCube, you know, then I got an Xbox, a 360. So, you know, I was a, you know, Wii. I even have a Wii U right now, just because, you know, I want to keep up with whatever Nintendo first-party titles they're releasing. But yeah, I would say, I'm kind of moving in the PC direction, though, because the way consoles are getting, I bitched about this in the last Q&A thing, about, like, how much the stupid interface and all those menu systems just piss me off, and now you have to navigate through them if you want to play a fucking game, whereas with the PC, you just kind of download the game. You know, that takes however the fuck long it takes for the game to download, and then you just press play and you're playing the fucking game. And, you know, the Steam is such a fantastic, it's such a fantastic program. I mean, they have fucking discounts on a regular basis, so, I mean, you know, I'd be insane to not move in the PC direction. I don't know, the future of consoles to me does not seem bright, or it doesn't seem like a direction that I want to go in. I don't want to follow PC. Sorry, I say PC. I'm really, yeah, jeez. I'm scatterbrained today, like, especially. But I'm gonna muscle through this. I'm gonna try to, if those thoughts try to fly out of my head, I'm gonna be like, get back here, you fucking asshole. You know. But, no, PC, yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards PC, because with consoles, I don't know where consoles are going, but I don't really like it, especially with, like, Xbox and their DRM bullshit. And I know they, like, reversed a lot of their, I know they kind of reversed a lot of those policies, but I still don't trust them after that, you know? I mean, the only reason they reversed it was because they were probably losing, you know, a lot of people were like, I'm not buying this, and they're like, oh, shit. So, but yeah, PC. I mean, I don't have a PC that can handle gaming, but, you know, that can handle, like, you know, new games. Like, I can't play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I can't play, you know, Batman Arkham Origins on my PC, I can't play, you know, because I'm working with a fucking laptop here, this can't really do that much, but, you know, it's, but, you know, I guess that's why I've been playing a lot of indie games lately, because, you know, I mean, no matter what PC you have, as long as you know, anybody can run a game with fucking, like, 16-bit, with graphics, like Rogue Legacy or something, you know, but yeah, I'm kind of moving towards PC, and I think it'd be better and smarter to invest in a gaming PC than it would be to try to invest in a console. So yeah, I'm moving towards PC. I'm not quite there yet, but with the way consoles are becoming, yeah, I might make that transition in the future. Comment number 9. What's up, Xana, you evil computer virus? So do you have any plans to work with the Big T2000 in the future? You two make a fantastic team. Alright, I'm glad you feel that way, dude. Well, first of all, thank you. Secondly, yeah, I mean, I don't have any plans to work with the dude. It's not like we have some project that we're working on that, you know, I think we're, you know, it's not like there's some big, like, collaborative project we're doing together. I mean, like, every once in a while, he'll be like, hey, Xana, you want to do voices for my thing? And I'm like, okay, sure. So aside from that, though, I don't really think we're doing anything else. I mean, we're not planning to do anything, but so no plans. But you know, I'm not ruling anything out. So who knows what the future will hold? I think I've said who knows what the future will hold multiple times already. Oh God. This is what you get when I fucking do this thing and I'm not prepared and I just sit down and I'm like, oh shit, I procrastinated. Press play. Hey guys, welcome to my Q&A thingy. Penis. You knew from the beginning this was going to be an incoherent rambling. Hopefully I'm coherent enough that at least I'm making some sense. Question number 10. Who is the best Zelda sidekick? Fee? No. I like that you included Fee in that list. No. So who's the best Zelda sidekick? Fee? Navi? No, not Navi. Tatl or Midna? I mean, really, it comes down to Tatl or Midna. I guess I'd say Midna. I mean, I don't know. I like them both. I mean, Tatl and Midna, they both kind of have the whole bitch with a heart of gold thing going on, and you know, it's always kind of fun. But I guess Midna, because, I mean, for fuck's sake, the Twilight Princess, the game is fucking named after her. I mean, or named after her title. But, you know, I guess Midna's role is more essential to the story than Tatl's is. So, I mean, in a sense of, like, how significant, if I have to, like, if there's a factor, I mean, personality-wise, I like both of them almost equally, but if I have to, like, you know, if I have to, like, if the deciding factor between which is better has to be their significance to the plot, or their, you know, the extent to which their importance within the story, then I guess Midna wins. But nope, I like both Tatl and Midna. So yeah, I mean, I guess Midna. So she's cool. I like her. She's playfully sadistic and funny. I'm kind of a bitch. Hi Xana, I recently saw that you and Tauberpa were part of the TheDastails Fairy Tail abridged series. Is this a permanent thing until the series is done, or was it just a cameo? I mean, for me at least, it's a permanent thing. Yeah, no, I plan on voicing Loxus until I either get sick of voicing in their videos or they find somebody else. But yeah, I know, right now, definitely plan on doing it as a permanent thing. I can't speak for Tauberpa, so I don't know. Maybe it was just a one-time thing for him, but, you know, maybe he'll stick around. But nope, I'm still voicing Loxus. Comment number 12. Do you have any plans for a long-term career, and/or what are you majoring in? I mentioned I was majoring in psychology in the previous video, so yeah, that's my major right now, and I'm like a semester away from getting my associate's degree, so then I can transfer to an actual 4-year university and hopefully get my bachelor's. As for, do I have any long-term career plans? My answer to that is no. The only reason I'm sticking with psychology right now is because I'm trying to keep myself busy. I'm still sort of at a point in my life where I'm not really sure what I want to do with, like, the rest of it. You know, I don't know what I want to move on to do in the future. It just so happens that psychology as a subject interests me more than most other subjects, so I figured, hey, you know, while I'm still trying to figure shit out, I'll study psychology, and at least I'll have a degree that, you know, I can use. You know, I mean, hey, having a degree can't hurt, and if I'm gonna study something, and if I'm gonna keep busy, I might as well study something that interests me. So right now I'm sticking with psychology, but yeah, no long-term plans. Comment number 13. What do you think of the main Pokemon game series? Yeah, my experience with Pokemon was not, it's weird. I know I should turn in my nerd card, because, like, Pokemon is such a huge, like, nerd culture thing, that so many people are into, and I'm not, but I think that's because, like, my first exposure to Pokemon, I totally did not, I didn't do it right. Like, here's what happened. So my first experience playing Pokemon, I got Pokemon Blue. And I played totally not the way you're supposed to play, as in I leveled up one Pokemon super high, and that managed to get me through like 6 gyms or something. Like, it worked, my strategy worked, but then I got to a point in the game where I realized, like, oh shit, I need other Pokemon to actually beat this. And I basically said, and then I thought, like, I thought back on all the time I spent, like, grinding my fucking Blastoise to like the maximum level, and then I'm like, ah, fuck this shit. And so I just never played Pokemon after that. So yeah, I never got into it. I'm willing to admit that was very much my fault. And nothing against Pokemon. It also seems like the kind of game, I guess, like from, and this is an outside observer's perspective, but it kind of seems like the sort of game that, you know, each Pokemon game is kind of exactly the same as the last one with a few new additions. With the, you know, with like, you know, oh, we came up with some new Pokemon ideas, with, you know, but it's kind of the same game. And it doesn't seem like, I'm not a fan of that turn-based RPG combat thing where, like, you know, where you select an attack and then the enemy's like, oh, hold on, oh, yeah, just go ahead and select your attack, I'll just wait right here, and ow, alright. And now it's my turn. Could you just, hold on, I was gonna use tackle, could you just position yourself right there so I could, like, hit you? And like, oh yeah, sure, thanks. You know. Not a fan of, yeah, I don't like the turn-based RPG combat thingy, it's just not, it's not for me. So it doesn't, you know, I guess if that style of gameplay does not do anything for me, then, you know, I don't think Pokemon would be something that I would get too invested in. But, you know, hey, like I said, that's an outsider's perspective, you know. Maybe it's the greatest fucking thing ever, and I just, you know, missed out. So, but I feel like it's too late for me to get in there now. 14. What is your favorite kind of potato? All right, I mean, like, what do you mean, like what preparation of potato I like? Like, are you talking like sweet potato versus regular potato, or are you talking like preparation like baked potato versus mashed? I mean, if you're talking about, I mean, I guess my favorite preparation of potatoes in general would be mashed potatoes. You know, I also, you know, I also like it when people mix garlic and cheese in there. That's pretty cool. You know, I like it when you mix stuff in the mashed potatoes. So I guess that, I mean, hopefully you learned something really deep and insightful about me from my response to this incredibly powerful potato comment. So I hope you're happy, potato person. Question number 15. How are you? I'm doing fine, thanks. I've always wanted to know, how long is your dick? I like how you preface your question with, I've always wanted to know, as in, like, the first time you clicked on my videos, the first time I saw your Twilight Princess Abridged, I had to know, how long is this motherfucker's dick? I need to know this question! I need to know the answer. Well, okay, the answer is disappointingly small. I mean, it's like, what, like 5 inches erect. It's really unimpressive. So, there you go, mystery solved. And now your opinion of me for the rest of this video is going to be colored by your knowledge of the size of my dick. Now it's like, well, I can't take this guy seriously anymore, he's a tiny dick. Why should I even watch his videos? Because apparently that was the most significant thing to you, was the size of my penis. Alright, next question. Question number 16, and this is going to be a doozy. Could you tell us about that dream which seemed like it lasted for years? Because, you know, and I try to think through these questions before I answer them, at least, like, read them first and be like, okay, how do I respond to this? And the more I thought back to this dream, the more I realized, like, how many blank spots there are. I'm gonna try to answer this question. I am gonna try to describe this dream for you. But just keep in mind, I had this dream when I was 7, so my memory of that dream is faded a bit. But I'll do my best. Because there's a whole bunch of, like, weird stuff that happens, and then there's a point in the dream where it, like, stays consistent until the end. So I'm gonna try to do this to the best of my ability. So the dream begins when my dad takes a mace and smacks me in the head. We were both standing on, like, the Final Destination stage from Smash Brothers Melee, and for whatever reason, I'm fighting my dad, and then my dad pulls out a giant, it wasn't a mace, it was a flail, but it was the same idea, you know, it was on a string, it was on, like, a chain instead of like a stick. So he was like, "Rawr," and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Why are we fucking fighting? And he's like, "Rawr." And of course I go flying off the edge, and then I wake up and I'm like, duh! Oh shit. Well, that was weird. So I get up, I get out of bed, and I walk into the hallway, and my dad's just standing in the hallway, and I'm like, whoa, Dad! It's like, oh hey son, Dad, I had the craziest dream that you just took a fucking medieval flail and smacked me in the face with it. And he's like, well, geez, that's crazy. Anyway, son, pack your bags because we're going on vacation. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. So, you know, I run inside, I pack my bags, and I take my suitcase outside. And, of course, there's gerbils covering our driveway. There are just gerbils fucking everywhere. And, of course, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, no, this makes perfect sense. Of course there'd be gerbils on my driveway. You know, why would there... It's a fucking driveway. And my dad's like, beep, beep, like, come on, hurry up. Ignore the gerbils. And I'm like, all right. So... I get in, and the car all of a sudden, like, well, my dad's disappeared for some reason at this point. I'm flying through this, like, I can only describe it as a checkerboard patterned vortex. There's, like, you know, it's like a black hole, except there's, like, a Cartoon Network checkerboard pattern in it. So I go through that, and then I end up in this fucking, I'm in front of this fucking crazy medieval castle. There's fire in the background. The sky's, like, black and red. There's meteors falling from it. I'm Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, and now there's this, and now I'm basically in a fist fight with Shadow Mario, and it was a pretty awesome fist fight. I don't remember it as vividly as I used to, and basically from this point forward, I just wanted to set the stage, because there was like a whole bunch of weird shit that happened. Basically, weird shit would happen, I'd go through a transition, more weird shit would happen, I'd go through a transition, more weird shit would happen, I'd go through a transition. At one point, I had to, like, escape Bowser by hiding inside of a giant seashell, because dream logic, I guess. So now, but eventually I reached the point of my dream, which pretty much stayed consistent in terms of, like, at least the setting from beginning to end. I mean, there was still, like, weird dream-like imagery going on, but this is the point that felt like it went on for years. So after all this crazy shit had happened, now I'm this really awesome fucking warrior. Again, I'm in this, like, medieval castle setting, and I'm basically this super awesome warrior for this king, but I'm like a magical warrior. I can, like, you know, I have, like, superpowers and shit. So I'm not just like a knight. I'm like a knight, but I got, like, again, super awesome powers. And it's awesome, you know, like, basically, you know, if there'd be a bunch of dudes from over there and they would attack the castle, and I'd be like, these guys, all right, come on. I got this. I grab my sword and I'd be like, what? You know, and I'd just take on the whole army myself and kick their ass. And of course, you know, I would win. Cause I was just that fucking awesome. There were a bunch of characters there. There was, like, the king. I had this apprentice. I remember the apprentice. And he was basically like, oh, you're so fucking great. You're so fucking great. And I'm like, bitch, I know. My voice cracked a lot doing that. Oh, holy governor. Apparently I can't go that high. But anyways, so I was this awesome warrior, and I remember, like, for a while in the dream, I was basically living the life of this really awesome warrior dude, in this kingdom, and I was just going through the motions. You know, every once in a while an army would come and invade, and I would kick their ass, and then, you know, I'd train my apprentice now and again, and then I'd have some food and drink, and like, oh, yes, man, I'm fucking awesome. And so, eventually, this goes on for a few days in dream time, when this, like, evil, crazy witch lady decides to invade the kingdom. And of course, you know, I'm thinking, like, oh, it's another one of these stupid witch people. It's another stupid one of these kingdoms trying to invade. All right, now I got this, guys. I got this. All you soldiers, you just stay put. I fucking got this, bitch. So we go outside, and she's like, give me your kingdom. And I'm like, no. And she's like, then suffer. And I'm like, hey, come on. And so I grab my sword, I go towards her, and she kind of smacks me really fucking hard into the wall. And I'm thinking to myself, alright, she's actually putting up a fight. So we have this fight scene for a bit. I don't remember this fight scene as vividly as I remember. There's gonna be this big fight scene later that I do remember in great detail. But this one doesn't go well for me. So she kicks my ass, I lose, and then she, like, casts this spell on me and basically cryogenically freezes me for the next, like, 7 years. Basically, it's an Ocarina of Time scenario. So 7 years later, I wake up, and I'm like, I'm in the Arctic somewhere, and I'm frozen in ice, and I'm like, duh! The fuck happened? The hell am I doing in the goddamn Arctic? What the fuck are there penguins? And for whatever reason, I don't even remember this character except at this one part. There was just, like, this weird tiny anthropomorphic anime cat character who I guess was supposed to be, like, a friend of mine from the kingdom, but I don't remember. But anyways, he's standing there, it's like, oh, you're back! You have been frozen for over 7 years! And I'm like, oh, well, damn.
and it's like the witch has come and taken over the kingdom. You'll have to stop her. You're the only one who can.
And I'm like, oh, fuck. So the next phase of that dream is basically me trying to... So I have to sneak back into the kingdom, and I basically, you know, because I can't take this witch and her entire army head on, because she kind of kicked my ass. So I basically try to create this uprising. I remember I see my apprentice again, and he's like, yeah, sir, you're back. Governor. Can't. Why do I keep trying to go up there? I can't go that high. It's weird.
It's weird, I can do this just fine. But when it comes to, like, this is fine, but I can't go up here.
But anyway, so I find my Cockney British apprentice, and he, and we liberate him. Basically, I spend the next part of that dream is just me massing, like, an army. So that army ends up going to war with the Dark Army. Eventually, basically, I have, like, a peasant uprising. Like, we won't take this evil rulership anymore! And so then this is the part of the dream that I remember very vividly. Where I finally square up against this evil witch. And it's been a long time coming, because I went through a whole bunch of shit. Again, I'm sorry I forgot so many parts of it, but I had this when I was 7, so I apologize. But this part I remember specifically. My god, this was an awesome fucking fight scene. Okay, there was like this, so like me and the witch were standing like a mile from each other in this like basically a barren fucking Dragon Ball Z style wasteland. There was rain pouring from the sky, there was fucking thunder, it was like this blackish purple color. It was like the perfect setting for an awesome fight scene. And so we're, like I said, we're standing a mile apart from each other, and I remember specifically, I stand there, and she stands there, and we look at each other, and then I'm like, "Aah!" And then, like, we fly in the air at each other, and I have my sword, and she's got her, like, staff with, like, evil blackish purple magic stuff coming out of it, and she's like, meh! And we both, like, clash our weapons in the air, like, psh! And of course it sends out this massive shockwave. And we do this multiple times. We're both like, and basically we're doing that for a while, and my god was that awesome. I mean, like, come on, I mean, I was 7 years old to jump like 50 feet in the fucking air and like fight this evil fucking magic lady. So eventually, we do one more thing, I got my sword, and I'm like, and she's like, yeah. So, and I land, and I'm like, for glory. I don't remember. Actually, it just seemed like a funny thing to say. Anyways, point is, I beat the witch. And that entire story arc of me being the ultimate warrior in that fucking kingdom came to an end. And you know, this was not only a weird dream because it felt like it occurred over the course of many years. It was also the only dream I can recall in which the dream itself had like a story arc, and that story arc actually concluded. Because like a lot of times when I'm dreaming, I'll wake up and realize like, you know, like I'll wake up in the middle of like a story arc and I'll be like, no, damn it, there's unfinished business. But this dream like basically just ended. I remember it had like a storybook ending too. Like everything was happy. The rain stopped pouring. The sky was no longer like dark. Like light shone through the world. Trees were growing again like instantly. And I was surrounded by trees. And I'm standing there with my apprentice next to me. And I'm like, yeah. Like posing triumphantly. And then like all these woodland critters run in like, yeah, we did it. Like we're posing for a goddamn photograph. But you know, the words, the end, could have appeared in like little viney, like little vines and leaves covering it, you know, like an old, like just some old style, the end of a fantasy story kind of thing. And it would have made sense. But basically, I'm standing there triumphantly, like, I beat the witch, and I'm feeling fucking awesome about it. And then I woke up, and I'm like, I've lived a life. And then I went about living my, and then of course I'm like, oh right, I'm 7 years old, and I live in my parents' house, and I play with toys. All right, back to that life again. So that was fucking awesome. So yeah. I hope that was satisfactory. It was a pretty awesome dream for me, and I remember parts of it very vividly, but I don't know if that was like super underwhelming and you were expecting better, but But that's the dream. Question 17. Could you share one of your more awkward moments stories, please? They're funny, haha, not trying to sound mean or anything. I don't think you sound mean. I mean, I wouldn't have told this story if I was, like, embarrassed by it. To me, awkward stories are always, like, funny in retrospect. Like, in the moment, like, I felt humiliated and awful, but then, like, later I'm like, that was kind of funny. So now, yeah, I definitely have another one. This is the gay chicken story. It doesn't have anything to do with animals, but you'll understand what I mean. Okay, so basically, I'm trying to set the stage again. All right, transitioning from weird dream world to, like, actual reality. Okay. So I'm sitting in history class, and it's, like, I don't know, like, 7th grade or something. And basically, we have, like, 15 minutes left in class, but nothing to do. I think we had just taken a test, but it was, like, multiple choice, and the teacher was, like... So everybody was done, and the teacher was like, all right, you got 15 minutes to talk amongst yourselves. So, you know, everybody's just sitting there talking, and they're all in their own groups. And I'm with a group of guys, and we're just, I don't remember what we were talking about, but then one guy suggested, hey, let's play gay chicken. And for anybody who doesn't know what gay, I'm sure a lot of people do, but for anyone who doesn't know what gay chicken is, it's basically a game where two straight dudes do a lot of gay shit to each other until one of them chickens out and says, I can't do it anymore. You know, like you'll gently stroke, like, it's like, hey, baby, you know, or you'll stroke their hair delicately and like, hey, you know, it might elevate to kissing, but basically, yeah, two straight dudes do gay shit to each other until one of them's like, eh. Now, one thing you need to understand about me is that I was not a very confident person. If you think, you know, I was very socially awkward, and I was very uncomfortable. I thought the game, you know, I was like, okay, I'll join in. Why not? But I wasn't a person who had a lot of self-confidence to pull something off like that. You know, maybe today I would have handled that differently. But to me, like, I knew I wasn't going to win gay chicken because I'd get too embarrassed and like, oh, I can't do this anymore. So I knew I was not going to win. I knew I didn't have the confidence to pull it off. So I decided, hey, I'll lose, but I'll play it up as funny. Now, at this time, to me, funny was obnoxiously overreacting to things that you really shouldn't overreact to. So keep in mind, in retrospect, I don't think this was funny. I think this was really me overreacting and being just stupid. You know, there's a difference between stupid and funny. Sometimes stupid and funny can be synonymous, but in this case, it wasn't. But anyways, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna lose this game, but I'll play it up for laughs. So I'm playing gay chicken with this dude, and eventually he starts doing, you know, and eventually gets to a point where I start feeling uncomfortable, so I'm like, alright, I'm uncomfortable, now it's time for me to overreact. So, I'm thinking, haha, I'm not just weirded out by this gay shit he's doing to me, I am absolutely mortified, and I'm gonna play it up that way. In fact, not only am I gonna back away and say, ah, or yell or something, I'm going to actually go a step further by dropping to the ground, convulsing, I don't know, like, thinking, like, retroactively, I don't understand why I thought that was a good idea. But I think, yeah, I'm gonna fall to the ground and convulse like, oh my god, gay shit. So I do it, I freak out, I fall to the ground, I start convulsing like an idiot, and then I'm doing that and everybody's cracking up. Well, probably for different reasons than, you know, than I was hoping they would. And then all of a sudden I hear a loud voice say, Christian, what are you doing? And I'm like, that's my teacher's voice. I'm still in class right now. This isn't recess. This is not after school. I'm in a classroom and my teacher is grading papers. Oh yeah, right, I forgot. I basically just forgotten where I was and did this really stupid thing. So basically I just got up, blushing like crazy, also laughing to myself. I'm just sitting there like So I get up, I walk slowly back to my desk, and I just sit down, and I'm just like, just eyes forward like, well, this is gonna make for a funny story someday. And my teacher, of course, the whole classroom is laughing too, because they had no idea even the context of what was going on, and they're just like, what the fuck was he doing? So yeah, that, you know, I was like an AB student. I did very well in school, so my teacher was never like, so I always was on my good side with the teachers. I can safely say that after this happened, that teacher never quite looked at me the same way again. Like, at first he was just like, okay, he's that quiet kid, but he does his work and he makes good grades. But now in his eyes, I was that quiet kid and I make good grades, but I'm also potentially a loose cannon who could convulse on the floor at any time like an idiot. So he sort of had like this look, there was always this like weird, awkward chemistry, not chemistry, but there's this weird, awkward like thing with me and him now where like he'd look at me suspiciously like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Are you gonna do that shit again? But it was funny. So yeah, another awkward moment. Like I said, I got plenty of them. Hope that entertained you. Question number 18. Whatever happened to your Link focus skit? I don't know if I answered this question already in another video, but I forgot whether I answered it or not, so I'll just answer it again. Basically, I just got bored of the idea. That was it. I started writing it, like half of the script I ended up, like, I had written this thing, and I was really getting into the idea of the video, but then like, I took a week off, I came back to the script, I read it, and I'm like, the first half of this is fucking terrible, and the second half is actually kind of funny, but I don't know, I just got bored of it, basically. I mean, don't worry about it, like, half the jokes that were gonna be in the Link focus skit ended up in episode 8, so, you know. There was, like, gonna be a part with Ben. That's why I put that stupid Ben joke in the 8th episode. There was gonna be a bunch of jokes with Ben, and I figured, okay, well, this is the part of the game where he actually meets the statue, where he actually sees the statue thing, so this would be, you know, I could do the Ben jokes here. So yeah, don't worry, a lot of jokes that were in that one. I think the idea was gonna be different, though, and I think the idea was good, I just didn't execute it well, and I just got bored of the idea for this episode. Was basically, Link was getting too comfortable with the idea of being able to turn back time, so he was basically just using it for his own selfish purposes. And of course, the masked salesman lit Link free in Termina so he could basically get his mask back for him. And of course, Link isn't doing that. He's just repeating time endlessly, fucking with people. I mean, he's basically become... what's that area in Fallout 3? Tranquility Lane. He's like the doctor from Tranquility Lane, where he's just like, this is my world, and these are my fucking subjects. I know where they're gonna go, what they're gonna do, how they're gonna behave, and I can do anything I want. So that's what Link gets into that mindset. And the Mastiodon's like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. And there was supposed to be this part in there where, like, even Tatl's getting pissed off, just like, fuck you, you know? Like, what the hell? Do your job! And he's just like, nope, I'm gonna kill hookers. And he's so, you know, the masked salesman is like, basically the masked salesman created Ben, so Ben could, like, basically created Ben as, like, his own personal servant, so, like, Ben could scare Link into, like, I don't know, it was just his way of getting, it made more sense when I came up with it. I don't actually remember a lot about this video, but the idea was, like, yeah, so, as opposed to Ben just being, like, a creature that the skeleton dudes used, he was like the masked salesman's creation, and the salesman was just trying to kind of scare Link into doing what he wanted him to do. But of course, Link beat the shit out of Ben, and you know, Ben was just like, yes, I shall kid. And, you know, Link's like, the Ben scene you saw in episode 8 pretty much played out exactly like it would have in if I had made that video. You know, where Link just, like, hits him in the head, and the only difference is he doesn't kill Ben. Ben is just scared of Link now. It's like, please, don't hurt me. So, that was the idea. Just got bored of it. That's it. But there's sort of a summary of what you missed out on, so don't worry. You didn't miss out on anything too, spectacular. Question number 19. Are you getting Sonic Lost World, or at least the demo? No, I'm not a Sonic fan. Sorry. I'm not much of I've never really been a huge fan of the Sonic games. Even, like, the old ones. And I'm sorry, I know, like, a lot of people love Sonic. I'm not saying they're bad games, I'm just saying, like, I don't like them. I tried playing Sonic 2, because I understand, like, that's the big one that people, like, really love. Like, that's one of the best Sonic games ever, and I played it, and I'm just like, it's okay. Eh. So, for whatever reason, Sonic just doesn't do anything. There's plenty of games, like, retro games that I've played as an adult that I still think are really good. You know, like Super Metroid I didn't play until I was 18, and that's like one of my favorite games ever. So it's not, you know, so it's not like, it's not that I lack nostalgia for it. I think it just legitimately, I do not think it doesn't do anything for me. So, not a fan of the classic Sonic, not even a fan of like the newer Sonic. Not a fan of 3D Sonic, so I don't know, I'm just not a Sonic person, so no, I'm not really gonna look at it. Also, I think it does, at least from what I've seen of the trailers, it does seem to borrow quite heavily from Mario Galaxy. But hey, you know what? But then again, you know, if you're gonna borrow from anything, at least borrow from something good. So, I guess that's not really a criticism. You know, hey, you know, if you're gonna borrow elements from a game, borrow it from a game that's really fucking awesome. Comment number 20. Hey Xana, big fan. Why the fuck are you? No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, man. My question is, what were your first experiences with the Zelda franchise, and perhaps first experiences with video games in general? My first experience with Zelda was Ocarina of Time, and it blew my fucking mind, man. Now, basically, that was the first game that sort of, like, changed my perspective about video games. Like, up until that point, it was like, you know, video games are a really cool way to waste time, and now it was like, oh my gosh, video games can take you on an adventure, man. It can be an experience. Mind blown. So, no, the Zelda franchise was very, very important to me when I was a kid. So, Ocarina of Time was my first Zelda game, and my first experience with video games was on a Super Nintendo, and I was playing Super Mario All-Stars. So, Mario is the first game franchise I ever played, which, again, that's a great first gaming experience for a kid, you know, like, basically, all the Mario games ever, you know, basically updated with better visuals and packed onto one awesome disc, for your viewing consumption, not viewing consumption, you know, basically my aunt owned a Super Nintendo, and I didn't live near my aunt. She lived in New York, and every once in a while we'd go to New York, like, you know, every year or every other year, depending on how much money we had for the trip, you know, if we had saved up enough for the trip, but we'd go and visit my family in New York, and when I was over there, my favorite thing to do when I was like 5 or 6 was to play the Super Nintendo, and then eventually when I was like 7 years old, I'm like, I wanted my own video game console because I loved it so much, and my parents were like, all right. And at that time, the N64 was was like the new big thing. It was the new big console, so they're like, hey, let's get you the N64, and so I got the N64. My first game on that particular console was Super Mario 64, so again, basically started with Mario, and then my first 3 games, so Mario 64, Smash Brothers, and Ocarina of Time, and you know, what a fucking great introduction to games, I guess. So yeah, but no, my first experience with games was playing Super Nintendo at my aunt's house, and that was always such a special thing because I couldn't do it all the time because it was always like once a year. But you know, when I was there, man, I would go nuts with that fucking Super Nintendo. But so that's that. Next question. Question number 21. What the hell motivated you to stare at a wall while mindlessly playing with a slinky? Oh yes, the beautiful slinky. Love that shit. No, excuse me, I'm gonna eat this dick real quick. Just gathering my thoughts. No, there is a story though. No, basically, like, Big T was doing a 4,000 subscriber video, and he wanted me to be in it. And there was supposed to be this bit where I would basically just be I don't know, not him, he doesn't call me on the phone, I think his Link character calls me on the phone. So, I would just be sitting around, like, all he told me to do was just, like, I don't know, just have yourself on video picking up the phone. So I'd be sitting around just like, the phone would ring and I'd be like, what? Who's that? Oh, hi, Link. But I don't know, I just decided, like, wouldn't it be really funnier if I was doing something, like, really weird prior to, like, me picking up the phone? You know, so I thought, like, what if I was, like, playing with a slinky, but, like, doing it insanely? So I thought, like, you know, I'd do this, like... And then the phone would ring and I'd be like, huh? Hello? You know, so I did that little bit for his video, and then I was watching for whatever reason, I was just dicking around in Premiere, and I was watching that little bit with the slinky again, and I don't know why, I was just screwing around. Sometimes it's fun to dick around in editing software, so I actually found, like, the perfect looping point, though. I was able to get it to loop to where it was really hard to notice whether or not it looped. I mean, you can pay attention whether or not, you can probably listen to the sound and realize that I looped it, for like a minute, but that's basically what happened. I took that image, I looped it for like a minute, and uploaded it to my secondary account because it was funny. That's pretty much it. Just me dicking around. Question 22. Hi, Xana. Hello. What's your favorite game of this year? Ooh. So many good choices. But I've narrowed it down to 3. I feel I should preface this by explaining, like, how significantly downloading Steam has changed, like, my perspective on gaming. Because, like, prior to this, I had, like, a top... Like, prior to having Steam, I had, like, a top 10 list. Which, like, if anyone asked me, like, what are your top 10 favorite games? I'd be like, I could name them all right now. And, but, like, ever since I downloaded Steam, that entire list is now getting completely, like, destroyed. It's been... I had to scrap it because it's like, you know, I think I mentioned in a previous comment, like, I can't play a lot of the newer releases because my computer isn't good enough to run them, so I've ended up downloading a lot of really awesome indie titles, and playing all those indie games has really changed my perspective on, like, what makes games fun, and, you know, what makes games awesome, and things like that, and, you know, what feels good to play and what doesn't, and, you know, just, so it's kind of broadened my perspective on gaming, so now I don't know how to numerically categorize this stuff anymore, but I can definitely... I couldn't pick just one, so I think the 3 favorite games that I've played this year, and I know they didn't come out this year, but I can easily say that all 3 of these games are equally as good. They're all trying to do something different, so I don't know if I can, like, say one is better than another, but... So my 3 favorite games that I've played in the past 6 months, Bastion, that one's fucking awesome, Bastion, Dust and Elysian Tale, and Hotline Miami. If you haven't heard of any of these games, again, I'm going to say Bastion, Dust and Elysian Tale, Hotline Miami. If you have not heard of these games, please, I looked them up. I think they're all fucking awesome. They're such, like I said, they're such uniquely different, they're such unique games. I can't really, I mean, obviously the developers of those games they had very different goals in mind for the type of game they were trying to create. They had very different goals in mind in terms of the tone they were trying to achieve, and the graphical style, I think they're all excellent at what they do, so you should check all 3 of those out. I love them. I can go on, I mean, if you want me to go into more detail, I can, but just to answer that question, yeah, those 3 games I think are equally fantastic. Alright. Question 23. Are you going to become a gaming channel? No! No. No. I'm never doing that. Let's just say I've watched enough Let's Play videos to familiarize myself with the archetypal bad Let's Play. I don't think I have the skills, personally, to pull off a successful gaming channel. Sorry, I'm just hungry. But, I got an entire fucking, like, dinner table at this goddamn desk. I'll just reach out and grab a napkin over here. My water. Hold on, let me just, add a little more water. Like I got a fucking fridge off screen. Hold on, let me make myself some steaks. Here we go. But, so that was another tangent. Am I going to be, but no, I'm not interested in becoming a gaming channel, sorry. Well, first of all, I don't give a shit about video game Let's Plays to the extent that, you know, first of all, I don't think I have the personal, charm, I don't think excuse me, I have the, charisma to actually pull off a decent, Let's Play kind of thing. You gotta, if you want to do that sort of thing, you have to be funny. You can't just be like, you gotta be funny and entertaining, and you have to, like, kind of give a shit about it. I'm just not enthusiastic about the idea of video game Let's Plays. I don't know. I mean, plus, there's already, like, the internet's so saturated with gaming channels at this point. Do we really need another one? You know? So, I don't know. I'm not interested in that. And then they followed it up by asking, if not, then what kind of channel are you going to do? I mean, I still plan on sticking with video game parodies. I mean, I might keep on doing Zelda. I might keep doing that, or I might do other games. I mean, I mentioned in the previous Q&A that I was going to be... I've been experimenting with Flash animation, so I might start doing animations if, you know, if, whenever I feel like I've got a nice little simple visual style that I can work with. You know, nothing too ambitious, but something I can, you know, a good starting point there. But yeah, no, I'm still gonna do parody stuff. It's just not gonna be abridged videos. I noticed I've been doing that a lot. Like, if in the last video I rocked back and forth too much, in this video I've been, like, messing with my glasses way too much. Like, every time I nervously, like, go like, even though my glasses have not slid down my face at all. I guess that's just, like, I got a lot of, like, nerve... You can see what I'm saying about, like, fucking, like, I got a lot of nervous energy. I always have to, like, stand up or pace around. I can't sit down for too long. You've boxed, man. I gotta move. Getting claustrophobic in this chair. The fucking armrests are... It's like a cage, man. Question number 24 is an interesting one. I don't know why they're asking this of me, but, how do you feel about the progression of technology? Like, in general, I mean, I think the progression of technology is spectacular. I mean, I think it's, the internet's one of the most incredible technological advancements, in recent years, and without the internet and without access to the resources I've had in technology, I wouldn't be able to, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of friendships I wouldn't have formed, there's a lot of fun I wouldn't have had, and, you know, I wouldn't have done these abridged parodies, or met people like Tauberpa, or Anthony, or the Big T, or stuff like that, you know, so, I mean, I think it's awesome. I hope we continue to progress. I like the advancement, I like the technological advancement of civilizations. I think it's great. I hope we don't regress in that department. I'd like to continue the process of this getting better. Question number 25. Well, this is less of a, what are your perspectives on the economic state? This is a little more simple. 25. What type of shampoo do you use, Xana? I mean, Suave. I mean, like, when I was, when I had my really long hair, I used, like, the Aussie or something. For whatever reason, I think their conditioner worked better for me, but Suave is just cheaper, and honestly, I don't even really need, you don't need an expensive shampoo to get hair like this. I mean, basically, I just wake up, I shower, and then I, like, do this for, like, a minute, and I'm like, alright, done. You know? I much prefer having shorter hair, but yeah, no, Suave, just because it's, like, I mean, it's, like, what, like, $2? I mean, might as well get the cheaper one. Question number 26. Hi, Xanax. Apparently I'm an anti-anxiety medication now. Just wondering, what are some of your favorite video game franchises? Ah, jeez. That's kind of like the, what games do you play kind of question, but I guess this does kind of narrow it down to franchises. I mean, I'd say easily my two favorite franchises are definitely Mass Effect, not Mass Effect. I like Mass Effect. No, it almost sounds like I don't hate Mass Effect, but it's not my favorite. I think my two favorite are Half-Life and Metroid. Definitely. I would say Half-Life because it sort of represents everything that I think is good about the first-person shooter genre, like everything that it does. I'm like, that's what first-person shooters should be. I like this. And then, like, for Metroid, I just like the idea of being dropped on a planet, and, you know, there's all these power-ups and all this stuff to collect and things, and but the game doesn't, like, tell you where to go and what to do. It's just sort of, like, drops you on the planet, and it's like, alright, explore, bitch. You know, and I like that, you know, that's awesome. I love the, and then there's that sense of satisfaction when you finally figure something out, and you finally figure out, like, how to progress further, and it's up to you. I mean, that's why Super Metroid, for me, is, like, I think it's the best Metroid game ever made for that reason. Metroid Prime is also awesome. I mean, yeah, it's got, like, the hint system thing, but, I mean, you can turn that off, so it's, like, optional. So if you don't want to be told, like, where to go, you can just, like, deactivate that. It's for those reasons you could probably understand why I'm not too much of a fan of Metroid Other M. Also, the story is absolute shit, and what they did to her character was awful, but... also not a tremendous fan of Metroid Fusion. I don't think Fusion is a bad game. I think it's fun to play, but that's when they kind of... There's a lot of hand-holding, like, go to Sector 3 and do that shit, and I'm like, I just want to explore the station, please. Nope, can't do that. You can't explore this interesting alien world yourself and get a feeling of genuine satisfaction when you do it. No. But no, other franchises I love. I mean, basically any of the major Nintendo franchises too. I mean, like I said, I grew up with, like, Mario was the first video game character I ever controlled, and you know, that was fucking awesome. So definitely Mario, you know, Mario 64, basically any Mario title. And the Mario games are still, like, consistently good. You know, Galaxy was fantastic, and that was, like, the Wii. I haven't played Super Mario 3D World, but I hear it's pretty good, so I'll have to pick that up. Yeah, no, so obviously Zelda is important to me, but I feel like that goes without saying. I will, and I mentioned Mass Effect earlier. I will say Mass Effect. It's not my favorite, and I don't think of it as highly as I used to, because I kind of realized, like, what the Mass Effect 3 ending made me realize is that I didn't really care. The gameplay was not the element of Mass Effect that made it good, because when the ending happened, it's like my enjoyment of the previous 2 games was kind of cheapened by, like, that lackluster finale, and I'm like, and I tried to, like, say, well, it's about the journey, not the destination, and then I realized, though, like, well, yeah, but the journey's, like, the game part, and the game part's just sort of, like, generic third-person shooter. I mean, yeah, it wasn't a bad third-person shooter, but it was just sort of meh. I mean, for fuck's sake, the combat and the... Well, I mean, at least... I mean, the sequels, at least, it felt good to shoot things, and, you know, the controls felt responsive and stuff like that. And, oh my god, the first game had fucking terrible combat, but I still enjoyed it, and it just kind of made me realize, like, how important the story was. It was the story... what I liked about Mass Effect was, like, the sci-fi universe that they created. I love the characters in that universe. I love the lore. I love that world. The gameplay was just sort of like a thing you had to do every once in a while. But the appeal was not the game itself. The appeal was the universe, and that's what made it cool. So I love Mass Effect. I love it as, like... I love the story of Mass Effect. I love the plot of Mass Effect. I love the world of Mass Effect. I love that universe that they created and the characters that you can interact with in it. But I don't really care for it as much as a game. As a game, they're just sort of like, yeah, they're alright. They're not bad as games, but they're just like... I'm trying to think of other game franchises I love. I mean, Mario Party. I mean, that's sort of its own franchise. Not because they're good games. Like, objectively speaking, they're really lackluster, but, I mean... I always find myself playing Mario Party, just because it's a great way... Like, you never know how that game's gonna go, because it's always determined by chance, so... You, you know, so much of it is... I mean, there's a few mini-games that, like... are based on skill, but overwhelmingly chance like 80% of the time chance dictates how those games go. So, you know, there's no telling who's going to do well and who's going to like fail miserably, and the process of watching another human being, another friend of yours just break down and just like, you know, they're right next to a star or something, and then, you know, all of a sudden like then all of a sudden, like, they get... Like, somebody uses Boo and steals all their fucking coins, and then they're just like... I just love the feeling of, like, just watching them get, like, emotionally destroyed by that game is so funny. It's an amazing social experiment, Mario Party. It really brings out the worst in people. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I can't really... Nothing else is coming to mind. But those are game franchises I think are awesome. So, yeah, Metroid and Half-Life being the 2 big ones. Question number 27. Dear Xana. As if it's the letter they're writing, but say cool. Again, appreciate the professionalism. Do you like James Bond? If so, what is your favorite? I'm not really a James Bond person. The only James Bond movies I've seen are the ones with Daniel Craig. And I've only seen 2 of them, Casino Royale and Skyfall, and I mean, I like both of those just fine. Wasn't Casino Royale, though? Wasn't that the movie where, like, you know, the one where they... That one, you know? The most cringeworthy scene in film history. Oh, yeah. I mean, that certainly... That scene alone got me emotionally invested. No, I like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I think he's pretty cool. He does a good performance. Again, I'm not familiar with James Bond. I've never read, like, I understand, like, James Bond is, like, a novel series. I've never read the novels, so I don't know. Not really. So, I guess Skyfall might be the best of the 2. It was alright. Nothing, like, groundbreaking, but I thought it was a solid movie. I love the villain. He was cool. Didn't he play the villain in No Country for Old Men? Yeah, that was the same guy, I think, right? So, probably would explain why I love the villain so much. Great actor. Question number 28. Hello there, Xana. I have 2 questions for you. Well, the second question was, what do you think of the new YouTube layout forcing you to use Google Plus? To answer your question, I already answered that question in a previous video, in the previous Q&A, so just go through the description of that video and you'll find the question. basically, I think it sucks, in a nutshell. Question number 1 was, what is my favorite soft drink? And I don't actually drink soda anymore. I used to drink soda a lot, like, regularly, and I would go to the store and I'd buy that shit, and it was awesome. And I didn't stop drinking, like, basically the only thing I drink right now is water and coffee, and I didn't stop drinking soda because, like, it was bad for me or anything. Like, my sole motivation of not buying soda was because, like, it took up a lot of space in my fridge, and I was just like, I can live without it. That was pretty much it. It wasn't, like, a health thing at all. It wasn't, like, you know, it was just, like, this is taking up a lot of space, and I could probably just drink coffee to get the same effect. So I'm gonna take another bite of these Christmas cookies. These are pretty fucking good. This isn't the penis one. This is like a... I can't tell if it's a star or a gingerbread man. Can you tell? What is that? If it's a star, it's a pretty shitty one. This could be like the head, though. And that could be like the arms. I don't know. Christmas cookies. 'Tis the season to be indulgent. But whenever I did drink soda, though, like back in the day, as in like a few months ago, but back when I did drink soda, I was a really huge fan of Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew Voltage, specifically Voltage. It's like a blue raspberry flavored Mountain Dew, and that was pretty good. So it was pretty much just me alternating between those two drinks. I drink Dr. Pepper for like a week or 2 weeks, and then I get sick of it, and then I'd buy Voltage. So it was pretty, I liked Voltage. I like the flavor. So, yep, those would be my favorite sodas, but I don't drink soda these days. And now I'm down to the last 2 questions, and I picked these last 2 questions specifically because I thought they were some of my favorites, so I figured I might end on a strong note. Or, not my favorites, but I feel like they provoke interesting responses. So, again, want to end on a high note, and, so, question number 29. Hi, Xana, again. Hi, back. You guys are really nice. I have 2 questions. Would you mind terribly elaborating on that? Well, okay, first question, they asked me about the dream that I had, and I answered, like, you know, I already answered that previously, so, and the second question was, in terms of music, which is your favorite decade, such as the 80s or 90s? I don't have, like, I can't really recall a recent decade that I'm familiar with. I'm not much of a music guy, so I can't, you know, obviously I'm familiar with groups like the Beatles and stuff, but, you know, the Rolling Stones and things like that, but I'm not, you know, I don't know a lot about them or, like, when they started or anything. If I had to pick a decade, I would say, or if I had to pick, like, certain decades that I love, and I owe this entirely to Fallout 3, but I have developed a taste for, like, you know, like swing and jazz music from, like, the early 1930s, or not, like, just the early 1900s in general. I don't know, like, some of those songs started in the 30s or the 20s maybe. I don't know the exact dates on when those songs were written, but I know that I fucking love them, you know. Love that shit, man. Again, I don't know much about the groups themselves or the artists. The only artist I'm familiar with is Billie Holiday. I know she's not a swing or jazz person, but you know, her songs are in the game. I'm only familiar with her because I had to research her for like a class I took once on like music of certain decades. But no, I'd say like jazz and swing, man. And for whatever reason, it always puts me in a great mood. Again, I don't know much about the history, so I think the only reason that I like those songs is because I associate them with Fallout 3, because I had a good time playing Fallout 3. So, you know, I associate the songs with the game, and I'm like, yeah. But hey, they gotta, you know, they're good songs. But the reason I chose this question is because they actually this person followed up by saying, sorry, just one more thing. And I thought this was very nice of them, so I just want to I feel like the least I can do is acknowledge it. Sorry, just one more thing. I wanted to thank you for your videos because they are always funny and keep me out of my mind, which has helped me more than once regain hope. Like, geez. When I feel like I can't smile, and when I see one of your videos, even if it's just for a while, I can smile. That rhymes. I just thought you should know. And, no, I just wanted to say, nah, thanks, dude. Because, you know, the cool thing about a comment like that is even if, like, because I kind of shit on my own videos sometimes. Like, I'm like, oh, my old videos are edited, they're edited poorly, and they're voiced poorly, and you know, the scripts aren't that good. And, you know, I can feel that way about my videos. Obviously, I'm never going to understand how other people feel about my videos. The way I feel about my videos is always going to be different from how other people feel about my videos. But a comment like this is always pretty cool, because it's like, you know, if anything, even if I don't think highly of my videos sometimes, you know, if I was able to, like, cheer somebody up who was, like, in a shitty or dark place or something, you know, then, hey, if it was worth it just for that, then, you know, it wasn't a total waste of time, so. But no, thanks. I sincerely, and I don't know if you, because again, you didn't leave any specifics, so I don't know if you're still dealing with stuff or if you've dealt with stuff, or if, you know, you're talking about things you dealt with in the past, but I sincerely hope that if you're still dealing with whatever it is you got going on, that, you know, you're able to gather the courage to eventually confront those issues and deal with them, and I wish you the best, you know, so. But, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna try to do that thing where I, you know, because a lot of people like to try to say stuff like they try to say things like, well, don't give up, or it gets better, and I can't make, you know, I'm not gonna make promises that I can't be, because again, I don't know what any, you know, what a person's going through, so I can't pretend to understand or relate to that, but, you know, all I can do is wish you the best, so. As a person who, at many points in my life, or not many, but there have been points in my life where I felt basically like I was completely worthless, and like you know, like I didn't matter to anybody, and it can be easy to get, like, stuck in that mindset. So, you know, in that sense, I can sort of sympathize, or, so, you know, wish you the best. You know, I hope whatever you got going on gets better. So, but then again, thank you, because it does kind of brighten my day in a sense to. Well, it doesn't brighten my day that you're dealing with horrible shit, but it brightens my day that, you know, I was able to cheer somebody up like that, even if my opinion of my own videos is kind of like, oh, they're shit. But thanks. And, you know, laughter can be an important thing, and speaking of laughter, I got this fantastically horrible comment that somebody left. Comment number 30. And oh boy, is this one fantastic. I knew I had to close on this one, so. Person who left comment number 29, if you're dealing with horrible shit and you need a laugh, listen to this terrible thing that somebody wrote. If you and Tauberpa made love, who would be on top? Or would it be one of those strange-ass relationships where you have crazy sex and are bouncing all over the place, not knowing what is going on and not being able to see who is on top because of your uncontrollable loving? And the person who wrote this comment specified that I had to answer this one. So, you guys gotta stop fucking shipping us, first of all. 'Cause, like, I don't want that fucker anywhere near my penis. 'Cause he's like a creepy weirdo and I hate him. Alright? Now, you know, we'd be having sex, well, of course I'd be, you know, who would be on top? Clearly, you know, Tauberpa would be on top, because, I mean, look at me. Look at this lanky, scrawny, nerdy body. Obviously, I'd be on the submissive end of the spectrum, so I'd be bottom bitch. So I'd be bent over getting fucked, but he'd probably be doing something, like, horrible, and he'd probably do something horrible and weird, like call out the wrong name or something. Like, you know, I'd be bent over, and he'd be like, oh, yes, take it, yes, take it, Pinkie Pie. And I'd be like, dude, what the oh, my God. And he'd be like, I mean, no, that's pretty much exactly what I meant. And then I'd slap him in the face with my penis, and then I'd call him a creepy weirdo, and we would no longer be butt buddies. But seriously, though, stop shipping us. That's horrible and disgusting. No, I'm kidding. I mean, of course, I'll tell you to stop, but I'm completely encouraging this type of behavior by dignifying this question with a silly response. Anyways, that's the end of my Q&A for week 2. I hope you enjoyed this. I was very rambly today. Next time I do this, I'll try to be a little bit less obnoxious. I'll try to be a little more, first of all, I'll try to be a little less scatterbrained and a little bit more, less fidgety, because for whatever reason I had a lot of nervous energy, and I feel like even though I said I wouldn't rock back and forth, I was probably doing it a fuck ton. I guess I'll find out when I'm editing this together, but Well, anyways, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in week 3's Q&A thingy. Bye.